Good morning and
I
welcome.
gotta put it together.
Good morning. Well, good morning and welcome to SmartFox News. No? You don't like it? Okay.
We're on time limit.
Okay. Is that good?
Yes, better.
Good morning and welcome to SmartFox News.
Good morning, Kim here. Thanks for joining me for the current news. It looks like we're running out of hurricane names. In 2020, we have already run through 9 hurricane names, from Arthur to Isaias, and we're not even in the heart of hurricane season just yet. Only 21 names are on each year's list, and it seems almost 25 more storms could form. After names start running out, forecasters will start using the letter of the Greek alphabet to name storms, like alpha, beta, gamma, and so forth. Names for hurricanes are chosen based off of criteria. So is it deadly? Is it expensive? But I can't seem to, really understand how we're running out of hurricane names. If it really depends on the severity of it. Like, what about naming it Hurricane Mama? If a news forecaster said, Hurricane Mama is quickly approaching, I'd be like, honey, grab the kids. I know we still owe $200,000 left on this house, and we just bought the boat to swim through town when water levels start rising, but Hurricane Mama is approaching. Or maybe, what about using scary characters from scary movies? Ladies and gentlemen, Hurricane Freddy Krueger is quickly approaching. Hurricane Freddy Krueger! Honey, grab the kids! Mental health. Women's Health magazine conducted a survey that said poor mental health has risen up to 360% since the COVID-19 pandemic hit. Note that this survey was taken by 2,500 people, over that amount. So how do you feel your mental health has been affected since the COVID-19 pandemic hit? 70% said it has deteriorated, 15% said it remained the same, 10% said it improved, and 5% said not sure. When considering the challenges around how it has deteriorated, many have said it's not being able to see family, worrying about the virus, and concerns over job security. I think everyone can relate that their mental health has maybe gone down a little bit from being crammed in your home all the time or having limited places where you can go. I mean, I find my happy time going to the grocery store and going to the gas station. Thanks for joining me for the current news.
And now for some random trivia. The outer planets of our solar system are known as the gas giants. These giant planets have absolutely terrible weather, and they're known to rain a certain element. That element, is it gold, silver, platinum, or carbon? The answer is coming up.
Operations by Amnesty International have been halted in India. Why is that? The Indian government has frozen Amnesty International's bank account in the country. Amnesty is a non-profit organization for human rights. They gave a statement saying, "This is an egregious and shameful act by the Indian government which forces us to cease the crucial human rights work of Amnesty International India for now." Amnesty in recent years has been critical, very critical, of the Indian government and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. 2021 Summer Olympic Games in Tokyo, Japan. Americans are generally the world's largest game squad and biggest winners of the medals in the Olympics. However, with the number of COVID cases in the US and with the US leading in the world with the number of COVID cases, Japanese officials are a bit hesitant for their participation in the Olympic Games. The U.S. is currently looking for ways to diffuse these uncertainties pertaining to U.S. participation in the long-awaited 2021 Summer Olympic Games in Tokyo. This is Kim. Thanks for joining me for International News.
Hello everyone, it's time for This Day in History, September 30th. We're going to start off with the 1700s and then move on. In 1777, our own Continental Congress escaped to York, Pennsylvania after being pursued by the British. It's a year after 1776. The British are not too happy with us. In 1791, the Magic Flute premieres in Vienna by Mozart. Awesome. Moving on to the 1800s, in 1805, Napoleon Bonaparte moves his army across the Rhine River. In 1846, anesthetic ether is used for the first time in America by a dentist who's trying to extract a tooth. And in 1862, Otto von Bismarck of Prussia delivers his blood and iron speech. Moving on to the 1900s and wrapping it up, in 1924, Truman Capote is born. 1927, Babe Ruth hits his 60th home run. In 1938, the infamous Munich Agreement is signed by powers in Europe, which more or less appeases Hitler and more or less brings about the guarantee of World War II. In 1955, James Dean, a very popular actor, dies in a car crash in California. And in 1981, Sandra Day O'Connor becomes the first female U.S. Supreme Court justice in history after she is sworn in by Chief Justice Burger. Thanks for watching This Day in History, September 30th.
Hi, this is Sally Fang, and today we'll be looking at amazing women in history. So first on our list is Sacagawea, whom you may recognize on our dollar coin. She was born in 1788 and she was a member of the Shoshone tribe. However, she was kidnapped by the rival group, the Hidatsu Indians. And what ended up happening is that a fur trader in South Dakota ended up taking her as his wife. And his name is Toussaint Charbonneau, and he's important because he's kind of the reason why she got plugged into history as one of the very important people in our United States history. So back in the winter of 1804, President Thomas Jefferson sent a group of American explorers led by Meriwether Lewis and William Clark to explore the Louisiana Purchase, which was a large plot of land that pretty much doubled the size of the US back in the day. And this was a large piece of land that he purchased from France, and so it was very unexplored. So he sent Lewis and Clark on this expedition with a group of explorers to kind of see basically what did he buy, because they weren't sure. And so this is where Sacagawea comes in. So Lewis and Clark ended up hiring Sacagawea's husband, Toussaint Charbonneau, to be their local guide as they travel through these new lands. And that's when, of course, Sacagawea also joined along. And since she spoke the Shoshone language, she ended up being very helpful, especially with traveling through and coming into contact with other tribes. And actually, in a grand stroke of luck, they ended up reuniting Sacagawea temporarily with her brother, whom she hadn't seen in 10 years. And at this point, her brother, Kameawet, was actually the chief of a Shoshone tribe, and so he ended up helping secure some horses for the whole group to help them in their travels. So we remember Sacagawea today as just this very brave woman that helped these American explorers, Lewis and Clark, as well as their men, just travel through and check out all of this land that President Jefferson bought. So that's our first person. Second person on our list of amazing women in history is Katherine Johnson. So she was an African-American physicist, space scientist, and mathematician who was famous for a lot of work that she did at NASA for 3 decades. So her calculations sent people into space, including helping the very first American get into space. So she was born in 1918, and early on her parents just really pushed her in her education because they just saw that she was very curious and really bright. She had a difficult time finding a school after elementary school because all the schools around her area were only accepting white students. So she grew up in a time where the Jim Crow laws were around, and basically that was the time where a lot of places were separated. So either you were white and you were allowed to have, you could say, more privileged facilities and areas, or you were colored, so non-white, and you were perhaps didn't get the best of everything. You had to sit in the back of the bus. You could only go to certain theaters, restaurants, even restrooms, and even drinking water fountains. So she kind of grew up in this time where there was that segregation. However, despite all that, she was very smart. She skipped many grades, and she ended up being one of 3 African Americans who were allowed to attend the West Virginia University around the time that they started desegregating, meaning they were starting to accept non-white students. So eventually she applied and was accepted by NACA, which is later renamed NASA, and she was a human computer, meaning her job was to help solve math problems and check the calculations. So among the things she did, she ended up helping to calculate the flight path for Apollo 11's flight to the moon. So that was one big thing that she was behind. Unfortunately, around that time, as a woman, and also as an African American woman in a male-dominated job, she wasn't given credit for her work in NASA, not until 1961, in which she was first listed as an author of a research report. So despite all these blocks in her career, I guess without the acknowledgement, she still did so much for NASA, and she actually spent 33 years working there. She wasn't given credit until years later, but even so, in 2015, former President Barack Obama gave her the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is the highest award that any civilian in the United States can be given. And so she got that as just this grand appreciation for all the contributions that she has made. She died recently, so February 24th of this year, but we remember her as another amazing woman in history that did so much during her time.
So what was the answer? Well, if you think it was gold or silver or platinum, those are all good guesses, but not quite. It's actually carbon, but not just any carbon. Carbon in the form of diamonds. That's right, in the 4 outer planets, there's a strong possibility that at the lower levels of the atmosphere, it's actually raining diamonds. That's awesome. This has been Random Trivia. Thanks for watching SmartFox TV. I'm Chris Yates.
I'm Kim.
I'm Sally.
I'm Tracy.
Until next time, stay foxy.
Stay foxy.